Bears fans, we all know how good Ben Johnson has been so far for this team since arriving at Hallis Hall. First in the NFC North, top 10 in 3 of the 4 major offensive categories. The culture is high and much, much more. And in the latest report, Ben Johnson is starting to get a lot of recognition for becoming Coach of the Year. I'm going to break it all down. But before I get more into today's show, hit the like button if you think that Ben Johnson deserves to be Coach of the Year. Along with that, too, comment Y for yes or M for no if you think he deserves it or not. And hey, if you like this video, you comment and subscribe. You enter to win an autographed Colston Loveland photo. And if you subscribe with all notifications, you get an extra entry. Winner announced Monday, and here's the photo right here. Just so you guys know that this thing is ready to go out right to one of you guys. Let's get into it, though. Coach of the Year. He is very well in the running, and numbers do not lie in what he has done. A record could show so much, and yes, the Patriots do have a better record, which Mike Vrabel, which we'll get into in a little bit, is a lot of people's favorite at the moment. That being said, what Ben Johnson has done with this team in such a short amount of time, and Vrabel, and also his first time as a head coach, Vrabel has been a head coach before with the Titans. So he's already had experience doing this. Well, what Ben Johnson has done to only be one game behind them, pretty darn impressive. So 100% in the top 3 running, according to various different outlets such as CBS and ESPN. They've talked about that Johnson is either number 2 or number 1. But looking at just what he's done so far, 7-3 in the last 10 in his first 10 games, best since Matt Nagy, who was also Coach of the Year when he did that back in 2018 for the Bears. Top 10 offense in 3 major categories, Caleb Williams improvement, and just the year-over-year improvement of the offensive line, bringing in the right coach in Dan Rochar. Now, if you look at this, best winning percentage by a rookie head coach since 2015, it's actually all NFC North coaches. Nagy had the 3rd best at 12-4, where he won Coach of the Year that year. Then you had Kevin O'Connell in his first season and Matt LaFleur in his first season. Ben Johnson has a 700 winning percentage so far, which makes him 4th at the moment. And also on top of it, too, it's super impressive that this guy also has just been able to transition from an assistant to a head coach so easily, because he was the 2024 Assistant of the Year award winner with the Detroit Lions, obviously a huge resume builder for him. And now he can potentially win Coach of the Year with the Bears. Now, diving more into it, like I said, he was the 2024 AP NFL Assistant Coach of the Year at the NFL Honors in New Orleans. That's a big honor. And just what he's done with Jared Goff during his time in Detroit, and also what he's been able to do with Caleb Williams during his time with Chicago, that speaks volumes how much of an impact he's able to go elsewhere and still have that major side of positivity to an offense. So going through Caleb Williams so far, like we've seen this year, over 2,300 passing yards. Yeah, his 70% completion percentage challenge, not looking so good so far. He's at 59.7, but hey, we're winning ball games. That's all that matters. 7.2 yard per average and 13 touchdowns with only 4 interceptions. Going into his rushing stats too, Ben Johnson is allowing him to rip it with his legs. 272 rushing yards, averaging 4.2 yards per carry, 17 first downs, and 3 rushing touchdowns. He gets better every single game. He's not throwing 300-plus yards, but Ben Johnson is coaching him to understand this offense and make it efficient. Think about it. Last year at this time, the Bears were bottom feeders of the offense. Along with that, too, Caleb Williams was getting sacked every other play. It felt like he was making mistakes. He was throwing the ball where he shouldn't, wasn't throwing it out of bounds. Caleb's becoming smarter, more mature, and better every single game. You can see that intensity is there. This past weekend against the Vikings, you finally saw that emotion. He was like, I could have done better. Like, yeah, we won the game, but I could have done better. I put us in this position. I should have been able to put us in a better position. I like that. And that's exactly what a coach could do. It's not, again, just what's on the record sheet. It's what you're doing for your team. And Caleb Williams, Ben Johnson's his 4th play caller in his first 2 seasons as in the NFL. Impressive to say least. And look at the year-over-year numbers. So Caleb Williams right now is already almost on pace to outpace his passing yards for last year. He's just right now pacing to fall short of 4,000 passing yards, but he already has 106 first downs. His touchdown interception ratio is great. Rushing yards, he's doing a really good job as well. And on top of it too, his rushing TDs. He's on pace to do more. In fact, he is on pace right now to have just shy of 4,000 passing yards this year, still with that 59.7 completion percentage, 7.2 average, but he's on pace to have only 1 more interception than last year, but 2 more passing touchdowns. And rushing wise too, he's on pace to have 5, and he still has that receiving touchdown. We could see that again later this year, depending on what the Bears want to do. That is exactly what Ben Johnson is here for. The impact that he was brought in to do for this Chicago Bears team is being seen. That's what helps make you coach of the year. Guys, before we break down more into getting into this, please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already to help us get to our next goal of 39,500. If you haven't already, hit it real quick. It's free to stay up to date on all Chicago Bears news notifications, and you enter to win the autographed Colston Loveland photo. My apologies for having it upside down. Now, let's go into exactly what the Bears' 25 rankings have been with Ben Johnson. So you can see right here, 4th in yards per game, 13th in passing yards per game, 2nd in rushing yards per game, and 8th in points per game. That is insanely impressive when you look at the year-over-year comparison of what we have seen with the Ben Johnson effect so far. It is night and day how much of a difference this is. I mean, this is last year's Chicago's final offensive rankings. 32nd in yards per game, 31st in passing yards per game, 25th in rushing yards per game, and 28th in points. Let me just throw up the other chart real quick. Look at that difference. A 28-point jump if we're going, or position jump on yards per game. The 26 on rushing. I mean, points per game, it's night and day difference. It goes from top 10 to bottom 5. And then on top of it, 2 passing yards per game is up. That is exactly what. And just that 80 yards more per game, think about it. That's almost a whole entire field. But the Bears are moving the ball around a lot better than they were. They're also being more effective, more bigger plays, making first downs. They don't have these no momentum drives for a long time. The Bears are scoring more and more. Remember last year where the Bears didn't score in the first quarter for almost the entire season? Yeah, the Bears have almost done that every single first quarter this year. I believe they've only missed one. Don't quote me on that. I could be wrong. But the yards per game is there. They're moving the ball around. They're keeping the defense off the field, which we all know because that defense is so banged up. But that is big right there alone. You're showing the progression there. You're showing exactly what you were brought here to do. And that's a huge difference. I mean, that's impressive. Passing yards per game, Caleb Williams, young quarterback, learning the offense still, 4th play caller, like I said. He's got an offensive line from him now, but he's allowed to use his legs a lot more, and he's still passing for 40 more yards per game. Fantasy owners must love that for sure, but he's making effective throws. And we haven't even gotten deep into Caleb Williams being amazing in this offense. He's good. It's impressive what he's done, but it's only been 10 games with Ben Johnson. I mean, it's going to get better. So 40 yards per game, expect that to continue to go up. If you're a stock guy, like a freelance trader or anything like that, stock's going up. Love that. Also, any financial advice, shoot it this way. Anyway, rushing yards per game, they have 44 more per game. That's 4 first downs. That's 4 momentum shifts. That's 4 ways down the field. That is big. And if you can establish the run and establish the pass, that is exactly what this Bears team is going to do. And Ben Johnson hiring Eric Bieniemy as his running back coach, huge. That is a former Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator that's on your staff as a running back coach. So you got to remember that Ben Johnson has put together an incredible staff too, and Eric Bieniemy has done a great job at doing this. Then the points per game. Bears are scoring 1 more touchdown. Do you remember how many 1-point games last year the Bears were involved in? A lot. Too many, and they lost. Bears were always on the wrong side of the heartbreak. They seem to always be on the right side of it this year with 5 game-winning drives this year. But 1 more touchdown is so big in this league. I mean, points don't come around easy. So the fact that Ben Johnson's doing that with this offense is pretty darn incredible. In my opinion, we're just getting started. We haven't had enough time with this offense. They haven't had enough time to gel. The offensive line is finally gelling. I think we have multiple Pro Bowlers on there. Along with that, too, Caleb Williams is spreading the ball around a lot more. We've seen Loveland finally get his shot. We've seen Rome be hot this year. DJ's been DJ, which is great. Luther Burns finally getting involved. Zacchaeus, though, with some drops, doing a good job. Cole Kmet finally got involved in the Vikings game. And then the running back room of Kyle Monungai and DeAndre Swift, they're number 2 in the league. I mean, those guys are really the only ones rushing the ball right now. So overall, big work here for the Bears and just getting started. And the big thing that I want to say is that Ben Johnson, this is not a stat thing. The culture, everyone's bought in. Players love playing for this guy. They love the mentality. They love the intensity. That is exactly what Ben Johnson was brought here to do as well. It takes more than a coach just telling guys to go out and do that. They have to buy in players to play harder and not give up. And that's what Byard said. So a lot of these leaders said on this Bears team is that, bam, we are bought into this team, and we are going to continue to fight for Ben Johnson. So fantastic work, and that's a big shift there. His big competition, though, Mike Vrabel, who Drake May is the number 1 passing yard guy in the NFL. Obviously, his second year as well. People are like, oh, the Bears should have taken Drake May. No, I'm just going to shut that down. Caleb was in a much worse position than last year with Drake May. Arguably, I think the culture was a little bit better in New England to a degree in a weird way, but also he didn't have so many different play callers. So they were both in a bad position, not saying that. But Mike Vrabel has done a great job in New England. No denial about that. Was in the running for Bears coach, but he was going back to New England considering he's won Super Bowls with them as a player. But he's the big one in front. It's between these two for it. And if Vrabel gets it, it's going to be coming down to a record thing. But I think that Ben Johnson has done more work in a short amount of time. Both have done a great job, but being biased, I think Ben Johnson's going to get it. Guys, want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. But with that, as always, please like, subscribe, and comment. But with that, as always, thank you for tuning in this episode of Just Another Year Chicago Bears. My name is Nick Brody, and as always, I want to hear it loud and proud. Bear down, baby.